Should you invest in business? Yan ang papag-usapan natin ngayon. We're gonna go straight to it and ask some questions. It's a loaded question, but we'll try and keep it tight. I'm EDRIC Mendoza. Welcome to Fundamentals. Alright, so as we talk about whether you should invest in business, sabi ko nga kanina, we'll try and keep it tight. So I'm going to talk about investment basics, we're going to look at some business basics, and then we're going to look at an example and apply this. Are you ready? Let's get started. Una-una, when we talk about investment basics, kung natandan nyo, I talked about this in another fundamentals episode. Here are some fundamentals. Make sure you look at what is the product that you will be investing in. Who are the people behind it? Are they credible? Do they have a track record? Do they have good reputations behind them? And then of course, how much? How much will it cost for you to invest in that thing? And make sure you look at as many of the costs that are involved in it. Hidden costs, taxes, etc. As you now look at the costs involved in investing, you now obviously want to find out, well, how much can I make from this investment? You want to ask yourself, what is the ROI or the return on the investment? If you put 100,000 pesos in and you make 150,000 pesos, you've made 50,000 pesos or a 50% return on your investment. And then you want to ask yourself, what is my payback period? How much time before I can get my 100,000 pesos back? If it takes you 2 or 3 months before you can earn that back from the investment, then that is now your payback period. Obviously, the shorter the payback period, the better, right? So that is the investment basics. Let's go to number 2. Now that we've seen the investment basics, what makes business different as an investment? How will you know if you're going to go into business? First, I love what Efren Cruz, the father of personal finance in the Philippines, said. Sabi niya, if your investment return is more than 10%, you want to look at business. Because it's very hard to get that in other investment instruments in the Philippines. So, kung ang kailangan mo is more than 10%, then you now want to look at business as a possible investment. As you look at business, you now need to look at other areas. There's a guy named Tal Ben Shahar, and he said, ask 3 questions about business. Number 1, purpose. What is your purpose? Is that aligned with the business you're looking at? Number 2, what is your passion? Ano ba yung hilig mo? Is that aligned with the business that you're looking into? And finally, what is your skill? Ano ba yung kaya mong gawin ng mahusay? If those 3 fit in the business you're looking at, then carry on. Next, when you look at the business as a possible investment, look at not just 1P, the product, look at 5 Ps. So on top of ano ba yung product na ito na iniisip kong pasukan for my investment as a business, you look at price, how much is it priced at? That's very important. You want to look at place, where is it being sold, what channels, so you understand that. Then you want to ask yourself, promotion, how is it being pushed, or how will you need to push it if you're going to go into that. And after you do that, you're looking at the push, you want to also ask the obvious question, may market ba? Meron bang bibili? Kung ikaw, interesado ka, yung ibang tao, meron bang bibili rin? Finally, participation. Is there a community of people who like the particular product or business that's already growing, or is it something you need to create? And if you are going to create it, can you do it? Ayan po. Finally, in the business basic, ask yourself the more difficult questions in business that make it different from other investments, the operations. Can you handle operationally running it? That involves not just administrative things, but finance, marketing, maybe research also, IT, and even people development, HR. So those are very important considerations you want to ask yourself as you're looking at this business as a possible investment. Is that all set up? Do you need to think through it? What is the extent? All of that will help you decide, papatuloy ka ba or not. Now that we've seen the investment basics and we've seen the business basics, right? The fundamentals of this business as an investment, magtingin tayo ng example ngayon. Now, we're privileged to look at one particular business option, which is Pizza Togo. The need for food is obviously very big, even in a pandemic situation like this. So let's apply what we learned earlier. What is the product? So ano ba itong Pizza Togo na ito? It is a frozen, fresh, ready-to-bake pizza in Filipino favorite flavors. May dalawang klaseng product. There is a giant, which is a bigger pizza, and then there's the solo rounds or smaller pizzas. And the part of the reason why I like talking about this is because I actually used to buy this a lot in one of my earlier businesses in the place we were located, and I actually like the product. So as I share this, I have memories of this. You have the big ones or the small ones. What is the place? You can sell this if you get into it as a business from your homes, as a community dealer. When we look at promotions, you can work with the company, as you are now a dealer, in helping make sure that they push and they do a lot of the promotions, heavy lifting. You can just reinforce it as a dealer in your area, in channels you will create. Participation, is there a community? Well, part of how I'll answer the participation, meron bang community behind this, is now looking at the who. Remember I said look at what, and then now look at who. This who is the company, who are the people behind this? You can obviously Google this, but what I like as a fun fact, the Jiminy Food Group is the largest pizza network with over 1,300 serving stations nationwide. So that shows that they have a pretty robust infrastructure behind them to be able to deliver on whatever commitments they have to you as a potential investor in this business. They've had 21 years of experience, and they've had brands like Jiminy Whole Pizza, baka narinig nyo na ito, Pizza Pedricos, that's the one we would buy in that business of ours back in the day, and then Santino's Supreme Slice. Alright, so now that you've looked at who and what, and we've extended that based on how I suggested earlier, let's look at how much. So if you look at what they state, they tell us that it is 30,000 is the initial investment, and then you maybe want to invest in a chiller separately, and on that investment of 30,000, you can actually get your money back or pay back in about 3 months. Not bad. Now, if you look at the return on the investment, after I crunch some numbers here, you can get conservatively 10% on your initial investment in your first month, and it can go up to 30-40% depending on, obviously, on how you sell in your first month. Not bad, because I mentioned earlier the hurdle is really about 10%. Now, let me say that obviously these are assumptions, and in business it's all about what will actually happen when you run it. So having said that, do your homework, apply what I've shared, and hopefully if this particular business as an investment makes sense for you, you can reach out to the team from Jiminy Pizza, Pizza to Go, and you look at their Facebook page or a number, and I'll read it here, 0917-108-7438. Ayan po. So I hope that that helps you. Let's close. At the heart of being able to invest, which is what I shared the last time, is really the principle of good stewardship. With whatever resources we have, we don't want it to just sit. We want to see it grow, and investing is one good way to see that grow. If you think you have the ability to invest in a business, I've shared with you the basics, the fundamentals necessary for that, and my suggestion is if you are young, take the risks. If you are a little bit older, you want to ask, does this fit my goals? And if it fits your goals, make sure that because you are older and maybe your finances are a little bit more complicated, tandaan po natin, if you are going to invest, you want to make sure that it is something that you can possibly lose. If you can lose the investment money in this particular business, then you will be in a better position because there will be no fear, no stress, no worry as you first try and get into it. So, I hope this has been helpful. Once again, dig deep, ask yourself if this makes sense, and if it does, see what happens.